Hello friends, hope you have seen my last video on the first line of defense and you like that video. Now in this particular video we will go in detail about the second line of defense of the vertebrate body. Now under that second line of defense when any pathogen enters into the body, it has to cross the three lines of defense. First line of defense that we have studied, second line of defense and third line of defense, and after that it caused the disease. Now let us see what is the second line of defense, which are the components of the second line of defense of the vertebrate body. Here this second line of defense particularly consists of different body activities. Now which are these body activities? All of you know fever. We say that fever is a symptom, but fever is one of the best defense mechanism given by the body. So fever is first component, second one is inflammation, third one is phagocytosis, fourth one is different reflex action given by the body like sneezing, coughing, perspiration or salivation. All these body activities constitute the components of second line of defense. Now in this video we will go in detail about the fever, that is the first component of the second line of defense. Now what is fever? How to define the fever? Why there is fever condition in the body? What is the physiological sequence in case of the fever, and how fever gives the defense mechanism? Now first of all, what is fever? Now all of you know that our normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, and it was controlled or it was stabilized by a organ. Which is that organ? That organ is called as hypothalamus. This hypothalamus is our thermostat which stabilize our body temperature. Now fever. Here fever is nothing but rise in body temperature. Generally the temperature from oral and rectal cavity was monitored. So rise in the oral temperature from 37 to 37.5 degrees Celsius, that is 100.5 degree Fahrenheit. So rise in oral temperature to 37.5 degrees Celsius, and as well as rise in rectal temperature to 38.4 degrees Celsius, that is 101.5 degree Fahrenheit. That condition is called as fever. So rise in temperature to that particular limit, oral temperature rises to 37.5 and rectal temperature to 38.4. That rise in temperature is called as fever. Now why there is fever? Which is the biochemical event happen in the body which results into the fever. Now when there is any infection, here infection leads to the entry of pathogen. Now what is the nature of pathogen? Pathogen may be viral, pathogen may be bacterial, or it may be the product of bacteria, that is toxin. When such antigen infect our body, when they infect our body, when they enters into the blood circulation, here physiological sequence start. Now when they enters, body start to produce two types of pyrogens. Here in the fever, production of pyrogen is very essential, and production of pyrogen was due to the entry of this pathogen. Because of that, fever is also called as pyrexia. There is another pathological name, that is the pyrexia. Fever is also called as a pyrexia because there is production of pyrogens due to the entry of these pathogens. Here there is production of two types of pyrogen. Some pyrogens are called as, one type of pyrogen is exogenous pyrogen and another is called as endogenous pyrogen. Now name itself indicate exogenous pyrogens are the pyrogens which are produced by external agency. External agency is these pathogens. So these viruses, ruptured bacterial cells, they are parts in our body. Toxin act as a pyrogens. They are present in our body in the infectious condition. So they itself act as a exogenous pyrogen. And which are endogenous pyrogen? Here endogenous pyrogens are the, because of their entry, because of infection, body produces a substance by the macrophages. Macrophages are the major cells of our immune system. They produce some proteins. These proteins are called as interleukin. So production of interleukin 1 and interleukin 2 are the endogenous pyrogens. So these all pyrogens, exogenous pyrogens, components of this pathogen, as well as this interleukin, circulate via our circulation. They get circulate through the circulation and they reaches to the hypothalamus or reaches to the central nervous system and ultimately towards the hypothalamus. And in the hypothalamus they triggers a neuron. They trigger the neuron and to produce the component called as prostaglandin. This prostaglandin is the component which is responsible to reset the hypothalamus temperature, to reset our thermostat, and that temperature was reset to the higher degree, and that causes the symptom called as fever. So that is a chain event. Antigen enters into the body. Antigen may be viral. So generally it happens that in case of viral infection and bacterial infection, there is first symptom is the fever. So when they enters, these pyrogens are secreted. As I told, exogenous and endogenous pyrogens are secreted. They passes through our circulation towards the central nervous system, towards hypothalamus. From the in that region, that triggers the neuron to produce prostaglandin, and that prostaglandin reset the hypothalamus to the higher temperature, and that causes the fever in the body. So that is the biochemical event occurs in the behind the fever. Now why body gives such changes, or why body cause the fever? Here fever has role in our defense mechanism. Now let us see what is the role of fever. What happens when body rises the temperature? So fever has its positive effect. Fever has a defense mechanism. Fever gives a defense mechanism. Now first and very important is due to the high temperature, due to the rise in temperature, there is stimulation of one component, and that component is leukocyte endogenous mediator. The name is leukocyte endogenous mediator. This leukocyte endogenous mediator have very important role. This mediator cause decrease in iron concentration from our blood. So iron level was decreased by that mediator. That mediator was secreted due to the high temperature of the body, and it decreases the iron from our body. And because of that, organism, the growth rate of organ pathogens slows down, because generally these pathogens require large amount of iron to grow in our body. Here this artificial decrease in the iron due to the secretion of such mediator make that iron unavailable to bacteria. So ultimately growth of bacteria slows down. That is the first effect of rise in temperature. Second effect of the rise in temperature is this rise in temperature boosts the specific defense mechanism, because the specific defense mechanism consists of different chemical reaction. Antibody production is there, antigen antibody reaction is there. All these chemical reactions are boosted, or they are due to the rise in temperature, rate of chemical reactions of a specific defense mechanism fasters. So that is again helpful to get the more specific defense mechanism due to the rise in temperature. Third effect of the fever, or third effect of the rise in temperature is due to the rise in temperature, when antigen is toxin, rise in temperature affect the three-dimensional structure. It changes the three-dimensional structure of the toxin and make that toxin inactivate. So that is another effect of the fever. That is how toxin get neutralized due to the fever. And last is due to the high temperature, or due to the rise in body temperature, there is stimulation of the leukocyte. And all of you know leukocyte are phagocytic cell. So there is enhanced phagocytosis, which is again a defense mechanism. So by this way, fever is helpful for the body. It gives the defense mechanism. Now a point remaining is that when is that fever remains as it is, when that fever resides or when body reset its body normal temperature. Here fever occurs due to that particular component called pyrogen is the first trigger or first component responsible for this chain event. So when level of pyrogen was elevated, in that case body has the symptom of fever. When this level of pyrogen was decreased, when it will be decreased, it, uh, it, it will be decreased due to the decrease in the level of pathogens. When pathogens are controlled, when pathogen level was decreased, in that case ultimately pyrogen level drops down. And when pyrogen level drops down, body reset the temperature to the normal level, that is 37, and fever was, body recovers from the fever or there is reside in the symptom called fever. So that is the role of fever in the defense mechanism. The question is, if there is high grade fever above 40 degrees Celsius, if the fever was unchecked, untreated, if it was prolonged and high grade fever, then it adversely affect the body. Besides of giving protection, it adversely affect the body. In such high grade fever, there is denaturation of the protein of our own body, there is vasoconstriction, there may be inhibition of leukocyte in high grade fever. When fever was not acute fever, in the acute fever, it is a defense mechanism, it is a protective. But if there is prolonged fever, it may burden the heart, because prolonged high grade fever increases your metabolism rate, and that gives a that in that case our heart has to work very harder, and that also affect adversely on our body. The next is also imbalance. There is loss of water in such prolonged fever, and that's why it imbalances your electrolyte balance. So these are the adverse consequences in prolonged fever. In that case you have to, when fever is high grade fever, when fever was prolonged fever, in that case it should be medicated by antipyrogenic components. So antipyrogenic medication controls the fever. But in case of viral and bacterial pathogen, when fever was acute fever for short time, when body gives the symptom of fever, in that case fever is protective and it gives such a type of protection in case of second line. So this is the role of fever in the second line of defense mechanism. Now in next lecture we will see the second component of the second line of defense, and that is inflammation. So for this time, thank you.